Good afternoon, students. So in today's video, we're going to go over how to create an argumentative essay. And I will talk about how to go over an argumentative essay based on the book Rules for Writers by Diana Hacker and Nancy Sommers. This is the 8th edition, and I'm using the 8th edition of Rules for Writers because that's the edition that I have on my bookshelf. So without further ado, I will start sharing my screen and we will go over how to write an argumentative essay. So in the introduction of an argumentative essay, you always write your thesis statement. And so when you write your thesis statement, you have 3 parts: hook, 5 background sentences, and then your thesis. And so in the hook, that's the first sentence where you grab the reader's attention. Then in the 5 sentences before your thesis statement, the 5 background sentences, that's where you establish your ethos and your pathos. You establish your ethos as an authority on the subject, and you establish your pathos by establishing common ground with your reader before you state your thesis statement, which states the main idea of your essay. And that your thesis statement is always located as the last sentence of the first paragraph. So when you are constructing an argument, make sure your introduction includes a thesis statement that establishes your position on the issue you have chosen to debate. In the sentences leading up to the thesis, establish a credibility ethos with readers by showing that you are knowledgeable and fair-minded. So that's ethos. And then, if possible, build common ground. That's pathos. That is the appeal to emotion with readers who may not at first agree with your views, and show them why they should consider your thesis. For advice about, and when you want to write effective thesis statements, you want to have the topic, opinion, reasons, TOR. You have to have a what and a why. So in the following introduction, student writer Kevin Smith presents himself as someone worth listening to because Smith introduces both sides of the debate. Readers are likely to approach his essay with an open mind. Although the Supreme Court has ruled against prayer in public schools on First Amendment grounds, many people still feel that prayer should be allowed. Such people value prayer as a practice central to their faith and believe that prayer is a way for schools to reinforce moral principles. They also compellingly point out a paradox in the First Amendment itself. At what point does the separation of church and state restrict the freedom of those who wish to practice their religion? What proponents of school prayer fail to realize, however, is that the Supreme Court's decision, although it was made on legal grounds, makes sense on religious grounds as well. And so here you have you're building up to your thesis statement. Prayer is too important to be trusted to our public schools. So a good way to test a thesis while drafting and revising is to imagine a counter-argument to your argument. If you can't think of an opposing point of view, rethink your thesis and ask a classmate or a writing center tutor to respond to your argument. And so one way in which you can write your introduction is something that I call a turnabout introduction, where you write the opposite point of view as your 5 background sentences in your introduction, and then you write your thesis statement. Now, if you're having trouble coming up with the opposite point of view, you can go to the procon.org website, and then you click on the topic you're interested in. Scroll down. After you click on the topic you're interested in the Procon website, then after you click on it, click on the topic, scroll down, and then you will see pros and cons. And that's where you can find the other opposing point of view if you're having trouble with finding an opposing point of view. Then, after you write your introduction and thesis, then in your body paragraphs, you want to back up your argument with credible evidence in your body paragraphs. Your body paragraphs are your 3 reasons from your thesis statement. And the body paragraphs is the meat of your essay. So think of your essay as a hamburger, where the introduction is like the top bun, then the middle paragraphs is like the meat of the hamburger, and your conclusion is like the bottom bun of the hamburger. So right now I'm going to go over the body paragraphs and what kind of credible evidence you could put in your body paragraphs to back up your thesis. Back up your thesis with persuasive lines of argument. Arguments of any complexity contains lines of argument that when taken together might reasonably persuade readers that the thesis has merit. The following, for example, are the main lines of argument that student writer Sam Jacobs used in his paper about the shift from print to online news. Thesis: the shift from print to online news provides unprecedented opportunities for readers to become more engaged with the news, to hold journalists accountable, and to participate as producers, not simply as consumers. Supporting claims. Print news has traditionally had a one-sided relationship with its readers, delivering information for passive consumption. Online news, however, invites readers to participate in a collaborative process, to question and even contribute to content, such as in Wikipedia. Links within news stories provide transparency, allowing readers to move easily from main stories to original sources. Technology has made it possible for readers to become news producers, posting text, audio, tapes, images, and videos of news events. Citizens journalists can provide valuable information, sometimes more quickly than traditional journalists can. If you sum up your main lines of argument, as Jacob did, you will have a rough outline of your essay. In your paper, you will need to provide evidence for each of these claims. So what kind of supporting evidence can you use? So you will need to support your central claim and any subordinate claim with credible evidence, facts, statistics, examples, illustrations, visuals, graphs, expert opinion, and so on. Debatable topics require that you consult some written sources to establish your ethos and to persuade your audience. As you read through or view the sources, you will learn more about the arguments and counter-arguments at the center of your debate. Using sources responsibly. Whether your sources provide facts or statistics, examples or illustrations, visuals or expert opinion, remember that you must cite them. Documenting sources gives credit to authors and shows readers how to locate a source in case they want to access its credibility or explore the issue further. Using facts or statistics. A fact is something that is known with certainty because it has been objectively verified. For instance, the capital of Wyoming is Cheyenne. Carbon has an atomic weight of 12. John F. Kennedy was assassinated on November 22, 1963. Statistics are collections of numerical facts. So anytime you have any kind of numbers, you have to cite the source. Alcohol abuse is a factor in nearly 40% of traffic fatalities. More than 4 in 10 businesses in the United States are owned by women. So whenever you have any kind of numbers, fractions, dates, you have to cite the source. Most arguments are supported at least to some extent by facts and statistics. For example, in the following passage, the writer uses statistics to show that college students carry unreasonably high credit card debt. A 2009 study by Sally May revealed that undergraduates are carrying record high credit card balances and are relying on credit cards more than ever, especially in the economic downturn. the average credit card debt per college undergraduate is more than $3,000, and 3/4 of undergraduates carry balances and incur finances each month. Hunter. So writers often use statistics in selective ways to bolster their own positions. If you suspect that a writer's handling of statistics is not fair, track down the original sources in order to have a better understanding of the numbers. Using examples and illustrations. Examples and illustrations often rarely prove a point by themselves, but when used in combination with other forms of evidence, they flesh out an argument with details and bring the argument to life. Because examples are often concrete and sometimes vivid, they can reach readers in ways that statistics cannot. Using visuals, charts, graphs, diagrams, photographs can support your argument by providing vivid and detailed evidence by capturing your reader's attention. Citing expert opinion. Although there are no substitutes for careful reasoning of your own, the views of an expert can contribute to the force of your argument. Anticipate objectives. Counter opposing arguments. In other words, write a counter-argument paragraph and a rebuttal paragraph. And so write about what the other side thinks. So to anticipate possible objections to your argument, consider the following. So when you write your counter-argument paragraph, think about these questions. Could a reasonable person draw a different conclusion from your examples? Might a reader question any of your assumptions or offer an alternative explanation? Is there any evidence that might weaken your position? So if you can think of this and other questions, that's how you would consider how you write the opposing view. The following questions may help you respond to a reader's potential objection. Can you concede the point to the opposition but challenge the point's importance or usefulness? Can you explain why readers should consider a new perspective or question a piece of evidence? Should you explain how your position responds to contradictory evidence? Can you suggest a different interpretation of the evidence? When you write, use phrasing to signal to the readers that you're about to present an objection. Often the signal phrase can go in the lead sentence of a paragraph. Critics of the view argue that. Some readers might point out that. Researchers challenge these claims by. So when you want to do a sentence starter of what the other side thinks, you can use critics of the view argue that as your sentence structure. Build common ground. So as you counter opposing arguments, try to seek out one or two assumptions that you might share with readers who do not initially agree with you. So sometimes it's okay to concede to the other side one or 2 points to show that you are reasonable and objective. And then sample student writing. So those are all of the these are all of the tips of how you write an argumentative essay, and then how you build up your argument and use credible evidence in order to back up your argument. And so here I'm going to go up to, and so therefore the key characteristics of an argumentative essay is key features. Composing an argument gives you the opportunity to take a position on a debatable issue. You say to your readers, here is my position, here is the evidence that supports my position, and here is my response to other positions on the issue. Key features of an argumentative essay. A thesis stated as a clear position on a debatable issue frames an argument essay. The issue is debatable because reasonable people disagree about it. An explanation of the issue's context indicates why the issue is important, why readers should care about it, or how your position fits into the debate surrounding the topic. Sufficient, representative, and relevant evidence supports the argument's claims. Evidence needs to be specific and persuasive, quoted, summarized, paraphrased fairly and accurately, and cited correctly. Opposing positions are summarized and countered. So when you write your argument, you can explore the following questions. What is the debate around your issue? What sources will help you learn more about your issue? What position will you take? So this is more like your pre-writing arguments, pre-writing research questions that you ask yourself right before you take your position. Why does your position need to be argued? What evidence supports your position? What evidence makes you question your position? What types of appeals, ethos, pathos, logos might you use to persuade readers? How will you build common ground with your readers? And then when you write your rough draft, try to figure out the best way to structure your argument. A typical outline might include: capture your reader's attention with a good hook, state your position in your thesis statement, give background information, and that would be before your thesis statement. Outline your major claims for your body paragraphs with specific evidence. Recognize and respond to opposing points of view, and end by reinforcing your point and why it matters. As you draft, think about the best order for your claims. You could organize by strength, building to your strongest argument, instead of starting with your strongest, or by concerns your audience might have. Then in the last stage of the writing process, after you finish writing your rough draft, as you revise your rough draft, you can ask your reviewers for specific feedback. Here are some questions for a peer review and to ask your reviewers when you revise your essay. Is the thesis clear? Is the issue debatable? Is the evidence persuasive? Do I need more evidence? Is my argument logical? Are there any flaws in my reasoning? Have I presented myself as a knowledgeable, trustworthy source? And does the conclusion pull the entire essay together? So this pretty much ends today's video about the major characteristics of a good argumentative essay, in which you write about a debatable topic, and then you state your main idea in the thesis, and then in the 3 paragraphs of your body paragraphs, the meat of your paper, you justify and support that thesis, and then in your conclusion, you wrap up what you said, and you tell your reader, take away lessons from your essay, and you tell the reader what to do in the future about your essay. So, if you have any questions about the basic characteristics of an argumentative essay and how to write an argumentative essay, feel free to email me anytime. So this is the end of my characteristics of how to write an argumentative essay based out of the Rules for Writers, Diana Hacker book. So I will. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me anytime.